Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to be diving into the future of learning.
It's pretty amazing to make learning more accessible, more personalized, more engaging, even.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thought was really interesting was how it talked about these AI-powered educational podcasts
Oh, yeah.
and like how they're actually making these really complex scientific concepts, easier to grasp.
Right.
Like I'm thinking, I don't know, quantum physics,
Yeah.
stuff that I personally always struggled with.
It's like imagine you've got like a world-renowned expert right there in your pocket,
Yeah.
and they're just ready to explain anything like, I don't know, quantum physics or ancient philosophy, anything. You could be doing it, I don't know, while you're on your morning jog. Like the article actually gives this really cool example of this AI-powered podcast that used like these relatable analogies and even had these interactive quizzes to break down like the complexities of quantum physics. And it made it, make sense to somebody even if they didn't have like a scientific background.
So I could finally understand it
You could.
while walking my dog.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, that's amazing.
it is.
So, but that personalized approach to learning,
Right?
that's what really got me. It's almost like having a personal tutor, isn't it?
It's even like it goes beyond that.
Okay.
Like think about this. You've got this learning platform and it's using AI, right?
Okay.
And it's not just analyzing like your answers to quizzes, but it's looking at things like, I don't know, your eye tracking patterns,
Oh, wow.
how long you're spending on certain concepts, even your emotional responses to the material. And all of this is being fed into these really sophisticated algorithms
Oh, wow.
that create a learning path just for you, tailored to your needs.
So it's not just like what you're learning, but how you're learning it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's adapting to like your individual style and pace.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing that Texto Pegado really emphasizes is how this level of personalization, it can be especially beneficial for students who might be, struggling in a traditional classroom setting. Because if you can identify those areas where a student's struggling early on, right?
Yeah.
AI can swoop in and give them that targeted support.
Oh, so it prevents them from falling behind.
Right. Prevents them from slipping through the cracks. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And, speaking of supporting students, I was really happy to read about how AI can help teachers with all those administrative tasks.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like the stuff that takes so much time.
Ugh.
We're talking grading, scheduling, managing materials.
All that stuff. Yeah.
And Texto Pegado suggested that AI could automate a lot of those processes.
It can.
And that would free up the teachers.
Yes.
So they can focus on what they actually do best.
Exactly.
Interacting with the students, coming up with really creative lesson plans, and just fostering a love of learning in their students.
Yeah, it's about getting teachers back to teaching.
So instead of being like bogged down by paperwork,
Right.
they can actually like teach.
Precisely. Just imagine a teacher who no longer has to spend like hours and hours grading essays or creating multiple choice quizzes. Instead, they can use that time to have, one-on-one discussions with their students. They can lead these really engaging classroom activities, and they can even develop personalized learning projects based on what each student's interested in.
So it's like giving teachers this super-powered assistant
It is, yeah.
to focus on what really matters, like nurturing young minds.
And this impact, it's not limited to, just the traditional classroom.
Oh, okay.
Like Texto Pegado, it emphasizes how AI in education can break down all these geographical and socioeconomic barriers, and it can make quality education accessible to people all over the world.
So it doesn't matter where you are.
It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what resources you have.
Okay.
AI has the potential to make that happen.
So someone in a remote village, like in India, could have the same quality of education as someone in a city like New York.
Exactly. That's the power of AI. It just breaks down all these barriers that have historically limited people's access to education. Like, imagine a world where anyone, anywhere, can learn from the best teachers. They can access the most up-to-date information all at their own pace and in a way that works for them.
That's a powerful vision.
It is.
And it really speaks to that idea of lifelong learning, which Texto Pegado also highlights.
Absolutely. The article argues that AI empowers individuals to become autonomous learners, exploring their own interests at their own pace and just fostering that love of learning.
Yeah.
That can last a lifetime.
That actually reminds me of that Confucius quote that was in the article.
Oh, yeah.
Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life.
I love that quote.
I mean, it seems like AI can help us find that passion by making learning engaging, personalized
Absolutely.
and accessible throughout our whole lives.
I think that's a key takeaway here. AI, it really has the potential to transform education
Mm.
from being a chore into a journey of discovery, a lifelong pursuit of knowledge, and even personal growth. It's about empowering individuals to become the architects of their own learning experiences.
And speaking of creating personalized learning experiences, Texto Pegado also discussed this rise of multimodal learning
Oh, yeah.
and how AI is being used to combine these different formats, like audio, visual, interactive elements, and it creates this much richer learning environment. It's almost like having a multimedia toolkit just for your brain.
And it really caters to all those different learning styles that people have, right?
Yeah.
Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, and then you've got other people who learn best through hands-on experiences. AI can help us find that perfect blend.
So instead of like this one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
we're moving towards a learning experience that's tailor-made.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting. Texto Pegado even suggests that AI can analyze real-time biofeedback data. So we're talking about things like your heart rate and your brainwave activity.
Oh, wow.
And it adjusts the learning experience on the fly to make sure that you're, optimally engaged and retaining as much information as possible.
Wow. So it's constantly adapting
It is.
to your individual needs.
In real time, yeah.
That's next level.
It is. And this is just, the tip of the iceberg.
Really?
There's so much more to explore when it comes to how AI is being used to personalize learning, to empower teachers, and to just create this more equitable and engaging educational landscape.
Wow, I'm definitely hooked.
Good.
Let's take a deeper dive into some of these other aspects then.
Let's do it.
One thing that really stood out to me in Texto Pegado was this whole discussion about AI's role in fostering creativity.
Hmm.
It seems kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like how can AI, this technology that's all about logic and data, how can it actually help us become more creative?
That's a really good question. And it's something that the article, it really dives into in a nice way. And what it finds is that AI, it can free up our creative potential
Okay.
by taking care of all those kind of repetitive, mundane tasks that can sometimes like stifle our imaginations.
So it's like AI is doing the grunt work.
Yeah, exactly.
And then our minds are free to kind of explore these new ideas and experiment with different approaches.
Exactly. So think about things like generating initial drafts, or organizing research, or even suggesting different color palettes if you're an artist or if you're a musician, different musical scales. And by taking care of those kind of more technical aspects,
Right.
AI lets us focus on, that higher level creative thinking that humans are so good at.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, can AI go beyond just, helping us with those technical aspects? Can it actually like help us come up with new ideas or break out of those creative ruts?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Texto Pegado mentions how AI can analyze huge amounts of data. We're talking about different art styles, musical genres, scientific discoveries, you name it. And it can identify these patterns, these connections that we might miss.
Okay.
And then it can use this information to suggest like unexpected connections, alternative perspectives, or even like entirely new concepts that we might never have thought of on our own.
So it's like having a brainstorming partner, but a really, really smart one.
Exactly. A brainstorming partner that can push us beyond our usual ways of thinking
Yeah.
and open up these new creative avenues for us. And the article even like highlights specific AI tools that are being developed for this very purpose.
Really?
Yeah, imagine like a songwriting app that analyzes, your previous work, and it suggests these new chord progressions or lyrical themes that you might have never thought of.
Mm.
Or a painting program that uses AI to blend different artistic styles and create these unique visual effects.
That's incredible. It really kind of challenges that whole notion that AI is somehow like antithetical to creativity.
Right.
It seems like it can actually be a really powerful tool for unlocking our imagination and our innovation.
Absolutely. And this potential for AI to enhance creativity, it goes way beyond just the arts. Texto Pegado points out that it's being used in fields like scientific research, engineering, even business, to help people come up with these novel solutions to really complex problems.
So it's not just about, paint up a prettier picture or writing a catchier song. It's really about using AI to kind of push the boundaries of human ingenuity in all these different fields.
Exactly. And I think That's one of the most exciting things about this whole conversation. We're really just starting to scratch the surface of how AI can be used to amplify our creativity and help us solve, the world's biggest challenges.
Yeah, that's a really inspiring thought. But while it's exciting to imagine all these positive applications of AI in education, I think it's also important to kind of acknowledge the potential challenges, even potential downsides that Texto Pegado discusses.
You're absolutely right. It's super important that we approach this whole integrating AI into education thing with a balanced and critical perspective. And the article raises some really important questions about the practical challenges
Yeah.
of actually implementing AI in schools and universities.
Like infrastructure costs and teacher training
Right.
and even, just resistance to change. Like I can imagine that some educators might be a little hesitant to embrace these new technologies,
Sure.
especially if they feel like they're being replaced by AI.
Right. And that's a totally valid concern. And it's something that Texto Pegado addresses head on. And the article, it emphasizes this need for a shift in mindset, both among educators and students. It's not about replacing teachers with AI. It's about empowering teachers with AI.
Okay.
It's about using these tools to enhance the learning experience for everyone involved.
So it's more about collaboration than competition.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where AI can support and augment the work of human educators
Yeah.
and free them up to focus on those aspects of teaching that really require those uniquely human skills. Things like empathy and creativity and critical thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, even if we can overcome those practical challenges, there are still like these bigger, more philosophical questions to think about.
Right,
Like
right.
the potential for algorithmic bias, the impact on student privacy, and even, the role of human connection in a world that's increasingly mediated by technology.
Yeah, you've hit on some really, really crucial points there. And Texto Pegado doesn't shy away from those complex ethical considerations. For example, if we're relying on AI to personalize these learning experiences, we need to make sure that those algorithms aren't perpetuating existing biases
Yeah.
or creating new ones.
And what about all the data that's being collected to create those personalized learning profiles? Like how can we make sure that student privacy is protected and that this data is being used responsibly?
Those are really big questions, and they're questions that educators, policymakers, and technology developers, they need to be wrestling with
Hmm.
as we move forward. And the article, it stresses how important it is to establish these really clear ethical guidelines and regulations for how AI is used in education.
Yeah, it seems like a huge responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity to shape the future of learning in a way that's both innovative and equitable.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this whole conversation so compelling. We're not just talking about, the technical nuts and bolts of AI. We're talking about its broader societal impact. We're talking about what kind of world we want to create and how education can help us prepare future generations for that world.
That brings us to another important point that Texto Pegado raised, this whole need for a holistic approach to education in the age of AI.
Right. Yeah, it's not enough to just teach students how to code or use these AI tools. We need to equip them with those critical thinking skills to evaluate information, the creativity to imagine new possibilities and the empathy to navigate a world where humans and AI are going to be working side by side.
So it's about preparing them not just for, the jobs of the future, but for the complexities of a world that's being like rapidly transformed by technology.
Exactly. And I think Texto Pegado does a really good job of highlighting this need to foster what they call AI literacy.
Hmm.
And it's not just about understanding how AI works, on this technical level. It's also about understanding its potential impact on society, on the economy, and even on our everyday lives.
So it's about empowering students to become informed and engaged citizens in this new AI powered world.
Right.
But even with all these advancements in technology, Texto Pegado also emphasizes this enduring importance of human connection
Yes.
in the learning process.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really, really important point to remember. As powerful as AI is, it can't replicate the human element of education, the guidance of a mentor, the collaboration with peers, the shared experience of learning and growing together. I mean, these are all things that are absolutely essential to a well-rounded education.
It's a good reminder that even in the age of AI, education is ultimately about fostering human potential. It's about nurturing those qualities that make us uniquely human. You know, our curiosity, our creativity, our empathy, our capacity for connection and collaboration.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I think that brings us full circle to something we talked about earlier. You know, the importance of sparking joy in learning.
Yeah.
Texto pegado, it reminds us that learning shouldn't feel like a chore. Even when it's challenging, it should be an adventure, a journey of discovery, a source of wonder and excitement.
Mm.
And AI, when used thoughtfully and ethically, it can help us rediscover that joy.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. Okay, so what is this thought-provoking question? Give it to me. Lay it on me.
All right, all right. So just imagine for a second that you could design your ideal learning experience, but it's powered by AI.
Okay.
What would it look like? What kinds of tools, what kinds of technologies would you want to use?
Hmm.
How would it be like totally personalized to you? You know, your needs, your interests, everything.
That is a good question. I like that. It's like giving our listeners homework
A little bit,
for
yeah.
the week. But seriously, that's an incredible prompt just for reflection.
It is.
You know, it really makes you think outside of like the box, the limitations
Right.
of traditional education. And imagine a future where learning is, you know, truly personalized, accessible, and engaging for everyone.
Exactly. And that's what gets me so excited about this field is that we're really just getting started.
Hmm.
We're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah,
The potential here of AI education and human creativity, it's huge.
it
It
is.
could revolutionize not just how we learn, but like how we think, how we create, how we connect with everything around us.
So as we're wrapping up here, this deep dive into AI in education, let's do a little recap of the key takeaways
Okay?
from our exploration of texto pegado.
Yeah, the article, it highlighted a couple key points. First, AI is making education way more accessible.
Yeah.
It's breaking down those barriers of time, location, and resources. You know, think about those AI-powered podcasts we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Expert knowledge on the go, or personalized learning platforms that can adapt to any learning style, any pace. It's amazing.
And the second point, AI can actually boost how efficient teaching and learning are.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, by automating those administrative tasks that teachers hate
yes,
and giving like data-driven insights, AI can free up the teachers so they can focus on what they do best.
yeah,
You know, mentoring, inspiring, and really fostering that creativity in their
I
students.
love it. And third, AI can empower us to become lifelong learners.
That's huge.
Right? Imagine you have this personalized AI assistant that finds learning materials just for you, tracks your progress, even connects you with other people who are into the same stuff.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about taking learning way beyond just a classroom.
And then finally, and this is important, while AI has this crazy potential for transforming education, we can't just jump in blindly.
We can't know.
We need to be careful.
We got to be thoughtful.
We need to have a strong ethical compass. We need to make sure that AI is used responsibly,
Responsibly, yeah.
equitably, and in a way that helps human education, not replaces it.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where tech makes humans better. You know, where learning isn't just efficient, but it's actually joyful, it's personalized, and it's transformative for everyone.
And to all our listeners out there, you know, as you're going about your day today, think about that question we asked you. What would your ideal AI-powered learning experience look like? Let your mind wander, let your imagination run wild. Who knows? You might be the one to actually make it happen.
And until next time, everyone keep on exploring, keep on learning, and keep diving deep into this crazy world of knowledge and innovation.